Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Totem News. I'm Jack, and I'm joined, as always, by Liam.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, not yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's a new one. But yeah, in today's episode, we've got some what I consider to be amazing news, and that is the reveal of Supermassive Games' latest project called the Quarry. Now, before we sort of go into details, when I first heard of rumours about this a couple of weeks ago, I was generally sat there thinking, oh, it's probably going to be a game that it comes out in a couple of years, like Star Wars Eclipse, and or either that or it might just end up being like a VR game or something for mobile. Completely wrong in thinking that way. It's a full blown horror experience, 10 to 12 hours until dawn level. Um, and I'm absolutely amazed by it. So, yeah, what are your initial thoughts, mate, before we go into details?
I'm really surprised because honestly, I thought they had enough on their plate already with all the dark picture games they're making, especially after the last Totem news we did, which saw that they had all these titles coming out. They were possibly looking at making a VR game. And not only that, but in the last video, we also covered the fact they're probably going to try and remaster Until Dawn as well. So to be honest, I'm not gonna lie with you. I heard about this game when the trailer came out as of today. So it just completely hit me by surprise. But yeah, like you say, it's going to be 10 to 12 hours, and I'm thrilled because as much as I like the Dark Pictures games, they don't quite come up to par with the way Until Dawn is. And I'm really looking excited to the fact that we're going to possibly have an Until Dawn competitor, a game that's going to, run it for its money. And the trailer looks fairly good, mate. Yeah, I'll pass the conversation back to you.
Yeah, so obviously that will probably be playing the trailer on in the background of this podcast. Um, and yeah, like we'll start off with sort of some of the details. So in this game, there's 9 different characters that you can play as. Now, am I right in thinking that Until Dawn was 8?
It was excluding Beth and Hannah at the start, where you can play as Beth. But yeah, it's apparently 9.
Yeah. So yeah, 9 different characters. Obviously, that one's up Until Dawn already, as you can expect. Anyone can live or die, and it seems to be this sort of situation where it's a summer camp, and for some reason, all of the characters are left behind, and the hunting season is going to start. And they even speculate about this in the trailer. They sort of say, "Oh, what would happen if sort of hunting season starts where people hunt people, and maybe there's a bit of that going on because like 9 characters is a lot of to get through. And in this particular article that I'm reading here, it's saying that if certain characters or if all the characters die off pretty early, this game can be as short as 7 hours, but most gameplays will sort of run sort of the 10 to 12 hour bracket. So is that something that sounds really good to you, mate?
Yeah, it really is. Especially like I said before, with the game completely took me by surprise how quickly it came out. Release date, to discuss that, it's gonna come out in June. I think June the 10th is the date I've been given here. That's not long at all, mate. That's in 2 months. We'll be able to, sink into this game, which is incredible. But yeah, the premise, as you mentioned, absolutely excited for it. Like Until Dawn, it brings up a few of the classic horror tropes. So one thing that my mind instantly races to, is I'm sure it does for everyone else, is Jason Voorhees. We're at a summer camp here with a bunch of kids which are going to get killed. No, this is just very Friday the 13th-esque, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whether you're a fan of that or not, I'm not sure. It brings back classic horror tropes, but hopefully they can do things a little differently. And have you noticed some of the actors that are in there as well, mate?
I was just about to go through them now. To my shame, I don't know any of them apart from David Arquette, who I believe was in like the Scream films. But yeah, I'll just list them off now. So we've got Ariel Winter, who's been in Modern Family and Speed Racer. Ethan Suplee, who's in The Wolf of Wall Street, Remember the Titans, and My Name is Earl. David Arquette, who's in obviously the Scream franchise, Eight Legged Freaks. Lynn Shay, the Insidious franchise, The Grudge, and Ouija. Miles Robbins, Halloween, 2018, Blockers. Grace Zabriskie, Armageddon, Wild at Heart, The Grudge. Holston Sage. I'm going to stop naming the other things they've been in because I'll be here all day. Zach Tinker, Lance Henriksen, Brenda Song, Siobhan Williams, Skylar Gisondo, Evan Evagora, Justice Smith, and Ted Raimi. Now, I don't know any of those names apart from David Arquette, mate. Do you know any more about these actors than I do?
So I know three of the names. So yeah, David Arquette is one of them from the Scream series. One thing I will say as well is that it's really nice to see they've brought a few actors from the horror genre, which I think adds a nice touch to it. Because if you're a big horror fan, you'll recognize a few of these faces, and that's something that I like they've gone with. I can't remember the actor's name, but now that I've put a face to the name, Ethan, the one you mentioned, who's in My Name is Earl, he's in a few things. Wolf of Wall Street, yeah. But also, the other one is Lance Henriksen. Now, we haven't covered him on the channel yet, but he is Bishop in Alien, which is, one of his biggest films, or Aliens even. And he's also going to be in Detroit Become Human, so that's an actor you'll probably get familiar with, this year, Jack. So that'll be cool for you to see. Yeah, so you'll be able to see him in this game before you tackle, Detroit Become Human. But yeah, like I say, I think it's a brilliant touch. They've brought horror actors in, and I think because we've been playing these dark picture games, we're used to seeing the same faces recycled. I was scared watching this trailer, thinking, "Am I gonna see the same faces? Am I gonna see Alex and
Yeah.
yeah, just yeah, I don't know, Junior from Man of Medan's face on just every character?" But nah, they've actually brought new actors in that are quite well established. And that's just a unique touch because it really strays it from the Dark Pictures game. It means that this game it really is its own project. And yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, so other things to talk about. There's going to be 187 collectible cards, which it says here in the article, it says it offers completionists a reason to explore every inch of the Quarry's branching story. So, mate, I think we're going to be sat there for absolute hours on end trying to find all these things. 187, that's an amazing number. Also, as you can probably expect, you can play it in co-op, both locally and online. Oh, another brilliant feature as well is that you can now customize the gameplay components. So, like quick time events, button mashes, aiming and shooting, you can toggle all of these things on and off. So if you're playing with someone that's not familiar with playing, on PC and on console, but they still want to join in on the experience, you can switch all these things off and then they still feel like they're, part of the game, which I think, again, is a really nice touch, and it shows that Supermassive, they are taking notice of things and concerns of the community.
I guess we could also mention the fact it'll be on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and PC.
What?
And you can pre-order it now, which is, quite a nice feature, because I'll probably get right on that, to be honest, because we have to cover this game. It's our bread and butter on the channel, right? So
Yeah.
if you're watching wondering if we're just talking about the idea of it, now we are covering this game.
Yeah, and it's brilliant as well because literally in a week or two's time, we're going to start doing a sort of like an analysis episode by episode of Until Dawn. And, that's probably going to run for some time, and it's probably going to run up to somewhere near the point of this game. So it's actually really nice timing on our end for the podcast as well. So yeah, definitely subscribe and stay tuned for that because there's going to be some good stuff coming your way. I suppose final thing, mate, is from what you've seen in the trailer, are there any sort of theories? Are there any things that jump out at you that you would want in this particular story?
I'm glad you mentioned it actually, because basically, I'm not saying my theory's right here. It's just a random theory I'd like to throw out there. But we're at a summer camp and it's set in the 50s. Now, Until Dawn is set in 2013, I believe. And they keep mentioning the use of the word lodge. Now, it's not really, it doesn't look very mountainous, but perhaps this is like, maybe one could argue this is the Washington Mountains and Lodge
Oh,
before, the Washingtons moved in.
yeah.
Because it talks about how the horror happens at nighttime, very much like the Wendigos. Uh, as we saw in, we just watched the trailer before recording here, and we did a bit of forensics. And a shadow does pass, and I was, telling the idea maybe that's a Wendigo we see, and maybe, the Wendigos have been on these mountains for years, because we had that with the miners, didn't we? And I'm not saying it's the right theory, but there are arguments to say it's a feasible one. But yeah, I don't know your reaction to that, and how about yourself? If you had any theories?
Yeah, I've got to admit, when they mentioned the lodge, obviously the first thing I thought of was like the Washingtons, and I was surprised that they sort of went with that angle again. But if it was to do, what you just said, then absolutely, why not? It wouldn't be a surprise. Again, sort of like with the whole Wendigos, it's a fan favourite, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility. And it's quite a departure from what I think so far. Um, so again, going off from like the same stills, there's like a shadowy figure that sort of clutches someone and sort of grabs someone and sort of takes them off into the distance. And to me, I've only seen this once. It looks like it could be the profile of a werewolf. Now I know it's all suddenly a bit out there, but I've been out there before. I said this with House of Ashes. It could be vampires, and it ended up where it wasn't necessarily vampires, but they were quite clearly based off sort of like the vampire, mythology and whatnot. But as well, of course, the whole trailer starts with like this massive that's this massive moon, which again ties in with werewolves. So for now, I'll say werewolves. Maybe there'll be sort of something down the line where I completely, quash that theory and leave it. But yeah, I'll roll with that at the moment.
I did laugh at you when you said wolves, and I got egg in my face. So I'm refusing to make that error again. So it could well be werewolves. In another theory as well, we could just go more simple. They talk about hunter season, and it does look like there are hunters in the trailer. So it might just be like maybe cannibal humans or just hunter humans going after these kids, pissed off for trespassing on, their property. Could be anything really, but if you are looking, we'd love your theories in the comments. So yeah, please throw those at us.
So yeah, have you got any more pointers, mate? Because if not, we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty good to crack on. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, we're both very excited by this. The fact that it's around the corner as well has taken us by complete surprise. We will be covering it on the channel more, and undoubtedly there'll probably be another Totem news on this before release, as naturally developers will sort of slowly drip feed various sort of screenshots and bits of information. So definitely stay tuned for any news on the Quarry going forward. Look out for our Until Dawn series and check the description box for our social media and all of the usual stuff. And yeah, thanks for joining us, mate, and see you on the next video.
All right, see you soon, guys.